Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Destiny 2. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and salutations. Today, Season of Opulence. Let's get to it. Now, the Season of Opulence has officially begun, and we've got two big questions on most people's minds. One, how do you gain power in the Season of Opulence so that you can play the activities that are tied to the season? And is it worthwhile? Is it worth your time? So we're going to try and address those two questions. And of course, some of it is going to be speculative or opinion, and the rest of it is going to be based on what we already know. Now, if you want to gain power in the Season of Opulence, there are power surge items that you can get. Now, these items will drop at 690. So if you're underpowered, if you haven't hit 700, now the power cap goes from 700 to 750. And if you're at 300, if you're at 500, if you're at 650, whatever it happens to be, you want to bump up your power as quickly as possible. So the new quest that you pick up from good old Sweeperbot Cabal, that will drop power surge items. So as you go through the different steps and you complete the tasks that are set in that quest line, items will drop and there will be power surge items. So they'll drop automatically at 690. So the power surge items will help you get up to 690, but unless each one drops for all the different slots, your primary, your secondary, your power weapon, your helmet, arm, chest, legs, and then your class item, you're not going to get all the way up to 690. You're going to get close to 690. So no matter where you start, these power surge items will get you close to that 700, which was the previous season's cap. Now, in order to get up to 750, you're going to do all those activities, all those gold stars that are on the map. Anything that drops a powerful item you're going to want to do. So daily challenges, weekly challenges, all those things that drop powerful engrams, you're going to pick up. And when you get those are going to be above your average power level. So if you're able to get up to 690, it's going to be above that. Now, above that only means 691, but it could be as high as 15 points above your average. So do be sure to be doing the Crucible, the daily and the weekly challenges. Do your Gambit. Pick up the bounties that drop powerful engrams. Do your Radiant Black Armory forges. Do your Nightfalls. What have you. Do the Flashpoint. Do the Dreaming City. Get all that taken care of. Get all that out of the way. And that will get you as close to 750 as you can get. Now, each day there's a new daily challenge, and that'll drop a powerful engram, and you can get stepwise a little bit closer to getting up to that 750 cap. Now, as you're going along, if you have already collected different types of weapons, different types of armor, so if you have a full set of weapons and armor, all the different possibilities, which is a lot, it will actually make the climb a little bit easier. If you take one item, let's say a Scatterhorn grips, and you put that on your Black Armory grips, then you're going to need Glimmer. You're going to need enhancement mods. You're going to need legendary shards. You're going to need one destination's resources, whether it's data lattice, dusklight shards, whatever. So if you're you can put one item into any item as long as it's in the same slot or type, you can do it. But it's going to cost you a lot more. It's going to cost more Glimmer. Now, if you already have each type of weapon and a full set of each of the different armor pieces, then, and of course with decent rolls, I might add, then you will only need Glimmer to infuse one item into another. Like when you're doing the Radiant Frame, you pick up the Pulse Radiant Frame, which of course will turn into the Blast Furnace. You already have a Blast Furnace, but it isn't as high as the new one. You take that new one and you infuse it into the old one. It'll only cost you Glimmer, and then you get that bump in power. And of course, that's the one that you're going to be using. So the cheapest way to get to maximum power is to put like items into like. So if a Hard Rock Blues drops at 700 and your highest primary is 695, then you're going to pull out your Hard Rock Blues, which has good rolls from the vault. Pull that out, infuse that new piece into that one. It's going to take it from 600 or whatever up to that 700, and it's only going to cost you Glimmer. So if you want to keep the items that you currently have, you can do it, but it will cost you a lot more in terms of resources. And you will run out very quickly since there are limitations on how much glimmer you can have and how much space you have for the different materials, etc. Not to mention how long it takes you to get those materials. All right, so that is all about leveling in the Season of Opulence. Now, is the Season of Opulence worth your time? Now, if you already have the Season Pass, you already have access to the Season of Opulence. This is the last DLC for that Season 1. Now, if you have previously decided that Destiny 2 is no longer worth your time, then the Season of Opulence probably will not change your mind. The Season of Opulence brings two main activities which were not previously available. There's the new raid, Crown of Sorrows, and you have the Menagerie. Menagerie is a 6-player match-made activity. So if you like playing the raid, if you like that challenge, then obviously the raid is going to be worthwhile doing. If you are frustrated with raids because of the challenge level, or because there's no matchmaking, or because the people that you're able to get through the matchmaking activities outside of Bungie, of course, then the raid will not be for you. And of course, there are a couple of items that you can only pick up in the raid. The Menagerie is a match-made activity, much like activities that came before it, which started all the way back in Destiny 1 in the Rise of Iron, the Archon's Forge. That was a public space that people could go to and start up an activity, and you can get unique items only from that, which turned into Destiny 2 Escalation Protocol. And then when the Forsaken came out, it turned into the Blind Well. And then after the Black Armory update, it turned into the Forge activity. And then Season of the Drifter, it turned into the Reckoning. And now it's turned into the Menagerie. And there have been tweaks and little changes here and there, because partially when you were looking at, and it even started before the Archon's Forge, it started actually, I believe, with the Dreadnought. You had that weekly activity where you could interact with the different statues, and then you would have a public space where you could do certain activities, destroy certain guys, and there was a challenge every week, and get special items from that. So way back when it started, and now every iteration has had subtle or not so subtle changes. Escalation Protocol, the Blind Well, those were still public spaces, and you interact with something to start it up, and you could have up to 9 or 12 people in an instance helping out. And of course, the more people there were, the easier it became. The fewer people, the harder it was, especially when your power level was below the recommended power. So once we got to the Black Armory, the Forge activity was match made, and you could only have 3 players, so it was only based on power. And of course, this led to the snafu where not many people could actually play the Forge because there weren't that many people that were at that 615 power level in order to complete it. And I think that Bungie had the expectation that you didn't have to be at that power level because people at the Blind Well, people in Escalation Protocol were underpowered and were still able to do it. But you were able to pull extra people in. So even though it was very difficult to do, especially in the beginning of that DLC, it was still doable because you could pull and pool the resources of not 3 players, which would be a full fire team, but instead 3 fire teams of players, which of course is going to make it easier. 9 guns versus 3 guns, etc. So now you have the Menagerie. So it kind of feels like Bungie initially, back in the Dreadnought, they gave you a nice blue shirt. It's a shirt that you like, and you say, oh, thanks, I really enjoyed it. But now we've had 10 more blue shirts, just different shades of blue, and it kind of feels that way. And, you know, the first couple of blue shirts, you're like, wow, thank you very much. But as each additional blue shirt shows up, you get less enthusiastic about it. And this is how I kind of feel that the majority of the player base is going to feel about the menagerie. It's nice to get a new shirt. It's nice to get a new blue shirt, even though it maybe is a little bit different from the last blue shirt, but it's still a blue shirt. So I feel like the content is mostly uninspired. And unfortunately, this is the last time that Bungie can point the finger at Activision, because this is the last DLC, the last piece of Destiny 2 that Activision had any part of. Going forward, whatever Bungie does, they can only blame themselves if it doesn't live up to the expectations of the players. So based on what I have said, you're either going to be excited about playing Season of Opulence, or you're not going to be excited about playing the Season of Opulence. If you've stopped playing Destiny 2, then the Season of Opulence probably will not bring you back. If you've been playing Destiny 2 and you enjoy playing Destiny 2, then the Season of Opulence is something that you have been looking forward to and you will enjoy playing. So if you like playing Destiny 2, then you're probably going to keep on playing Destiny 2. If you do not like the grind, if you do not like the direction that Bungie is going, this DLC is not going to change your mind. This is not going to be a new direction. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to ring the bell before you leave to be notified of all future episodes as soon as they go live. And thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we'll see you next time.
Failsafe. We can report those shields won't be a problem anymore. Nice catch.
The Vex Collective is reporting the same thing. Hopefully, they do not possess the resources to do this twice.